Hello. Hello. Hello.
Oh no.
I love technology, but I hate technology.
Technology,
Can you
why?
can you see me?
Oh, I can see you, but it's breaking up.
Okay, same with you. I can you're pixelated and you look really beautiful, but
Thank
not
you.
smooth.
No.
How, can other
Oh,
people see us?
it looks like people can see. I'm seeing messages of like hello. Oh,
Okay,
we're
that's cool. Should I try to do it on my computer?
no, can you go live on Twitter? I don't even know.
I don't know. I feel like you can't, but I'm not up to date with what Instagram allows. You have the coolest robot voice right now. It's like, L.
Let me see if I can do it.
Let's see. Let me see if I move around. If that will help. Oh, we're going on a journey. Okay, I feel like I can hear your laugh well, so maybe that is a good sign. Hi, Claire. Claire's here.
Getting ready to come down?
My connection downstairs is so weird.
Come up here. Come up close to here.
All right, so we're relocating. Okay. I'm so sorry. I don't know why it's being so weird.
I think it's my end.
Okay, well I can hear you, and I can see you. I can see you. We're very excited.
Okay. I'm very excited too. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Are we better now? No.
I can hear you. Okay, you're just a little pixelated, but your voice seems to be coming through. So let me know if mine stops, and I'll let you know if yours
Okay.
does. Thanks, honey.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Hey everyone. Thank you for being patient with us as we work this out.
Yes.
I am not at home, so I think that is contributing to the issues. But
Oh,
how
that
are you,
totally makes
Jasika?
sense. No worries. I'm okay today. Thank you for asking. I'm trying to think like what. Oh, this is hot off the sewing machine. Ooh, thanks, Claire. This dress is hot off the sewing machine. So this is my first opportunity to wear it around the house.
Let me get a good flip the
Sure.
screen. Can I do that?
No, don't do that. It's going to be weird.
Flip it like that?
I'm afraid of the connection.
Okay.
We're just going to do this old school, okay? So here's the dress. It's like I say that it is reminiscent of Ariel in The Little Mermaid when she's wearing the burlap sack and she's got the rope around and she thinks she's sexy, and Scuttles is like, no, girl, you're not that cute. Thanks, honey. But that's how I am. How are you and where are you right now?
I love your dress, A. Also, brand new legs, Little Mermaid chic. Totally a thing.
Yes.
I'm really good. I am at my family's cabin in Idaho, is where I am.
Oh,
Um,
you have
yeah,
cool.
I know we're doing a little family reunion because my mom just retired, so we are celebrating her retirement.
Oh, congratulations, Mom. That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah, it's so exciting.
okay.
I'm
Well,
so excited to get to see my family again. I haven't seen them in ages, so it feels really good to be here.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that is so I'm getting to see my family this month and I'm like, I don't I know it's like so long and happening and I'm so anxious and excited about it. It's like too many at one
Yeah,
time right
yeah, I still feel that. I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to have you here on SewQueer, and we loved your post. I think like universally, the whole editorial team were like, "Oh my God, Jasika! Like, of course it's
now.
amazing. We knew it would be." So, we really loved it. Um,
Thank
would you mind introducing yourselves to everyone for anyone who hasn't met you or known you yet?
Yes. Okay, so my name is Jasika Nicole, and I love to sew. That's why I'm here. My pronouns are she, her, and I am. Uh, I was invited to make a blog post for a SewQueer blog. Thank you, Shannon, very much. And I decided to write about myself and my partner, Claire, who's non-binary, who is kind of popping in and out of this interview, which I invited them to do because I was like, I'm going to be talking about you, so you might make
You
a
love
difference.
Claire.
Yeah. And let's see. Oh, and I'm an actor, and that is like my job. I feel like that's the least interesting thing about me. Um, but I will say that that is what I do
Hmm.
in my life.
Yeah. You are a multi-talented creative person in
Hey,
your
Shan.
professional and your hobbyist life. Yes.
I will
Yeah.
take that.
No, one of the things that I have always loved about following you is like whenever you are ready to dive into a new hobby and just are like, okay, here we're gonna try this out, which like I am so with you on that. Sometimes you just need to try something new and like go for it.
Yes, and I know I have that same kind of maker energy. Like if you have a little inkling of interest in something, it's like let's start it. I'm buying a dollhouse kit. Like let's go. I will go down the rabbit hole of wallpapers eventually, but let's just get her started.
Yep, yep, pretty much. So, in addition to sewing, what creative things are just like really feeding you right now? What are you really feeling?
So, right now, the past like couple few months actually have been very watercolor focused. And I took a little bit of a break from the watercolor because I got reinvigorated in sewing again. But I also have a knitting project, which I haven't had in a while. I've had very low knit Joe. I think part of that is that I live in Southern California and it's hot. There's like 2 weeks out of the year that you can wear your beautiful sweater. So I've been going down the road of finding like summery warm weather projects to work on and working with non-wool knits because obviously they are very hot and they're also very itchy on my skin. And so I've done a little bit of a deep dive into like the cotton and linen yarn and silk yarn arena, which has been really fun because I just didn't learn to knit with those kinds of textiles. Can you call yarn a textile with that kind of material? So yeah, that's what I've been into. It's like watercolor. Oh, I'm sorry. Claire's just.
Oh no, I did that so you could have it.
Oh, I thought Claire brought me this tarot card set that I've also been into lately. And also, I will just say really quick that it is a stunning tarot card set, and all of the cards relate to some kind of like myth or folklore or fairy tale from around the world. So each card has like a story that you can look up and learn a little bit more.
And very queer.
And it's very queer. And I also don't know that much about tarot. I'm learning. So it's a nice way to kind of jump into that world when you have the other context clues to help you understand what the cards mean, because it's a lot of cards. And I don't like memorize other than like lines. So I pulls out a card and I'm like, oh, 10 of Wands. Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The name of the artist is Yoshitani.
Oh, sorry. I should say the name of the artist is Yoshi Yoshitani, and they are on Instagram. So you can find them if you're interested in looking at this deck. I got a little assistant here making sure I hit like everything I need to. So my PR rep over here.
I love Claire coming in with the props and like
I'm waiting for a glass of tea on the side, maybe a little snack or something.
That's amazing. I love it. So we had some really wonderful questions about your sewing journey, and this, I wonder if you wanted to tell us like what is something in like the time you've been sewing that you really treasure or that feels really close to you or that is like a really good memory from your sewing life.
My goodness. I have so many. It's so hard to choose from. I will say that I'm somebody, so I've been, sewing pretty hardcore for the past maybe like 5 or 6 years. I make all my own clothes. And there's obviously like a lot of really awesome stuff that happens out of that. Because I get to, when I have to go to red carpet events or something, I get to make exactly what I want to wear. I know it's going to fit. I know I'm going to look amazing. I know nobody else is going to be wearing it. That's all really great. But I got to say, I'm not somebody who does a ton of selfless sewing, but I love making stuff for Claire, for my dad, and there are like a couple of other people that I've made things for, and their gratitude is so big. Sometimes bigger, it feels like, compared to the actual work I put into it. I'm like, it's only a couple of days. Like, it's, it's fine. But like, see somebody wear the thing that you made, and you know that every time they see it in their closet and pick it out, they're going to think of you in the same way that every stitch that I make when I'm working on the piece, I'm thinking of the person that I'm giving it to. So I love making stuff for Claire, and I love making stuff for my dad. So somebody taught my dad how to use Pinterest. I don't know who it was. It was not me. And he started sending me pins of like things that he really liked. And he sends me a pin of these floral button-down shirts, and they are wild prints, like really bold colors, wacky wild prints. And he was like, do you think you can make something like this? And I was like, can I make something like, yeah, obviously, Dad. Of course I can. So he went out, he bought a measuring tape because he lives in Alabama. So he had to like measure himself. He wrote everything down for me and sent it to me. And I made him these shirts and I gave them to him. And he like, he adores those shirts so much. He only wears them on very special occasions because he doesn't want to wear them out. And everywhere he goes, people compliment him on the shirts. And then he goes into a thing about how his daughter sewed these things for him. And what's so funny is that there have been a couple of times when his friends were like, oh, your daughter's making clothes now. That's great. Can I put it in order? And my dad is like so not having it. I think he lost a friend. Like, I don't know the details of what happened, but I don't think they speak anymore because his friend was not respecting his boundary about saying, don't ask my daughter to make you any clothes. So probably one of my like most recent favorite memories is making my dad these shirts and just having him overjoyed at wearing them whenever he has the opportunity.
I love that. I love your dad just like shutting that down. Like, no, no.
Oh, great. Honestly, a better boundary. I'm getting better at it. But like when I first started sewing, obviously when people say, I like what you've done, can you do this for me? They mean it as a compliment. And so you're trying to take that compliment, recognize it, and also at the same time, lay down your own boundary to say like, oh, I don't really want to do that. That's not that fun for me. And it's just a very tricky balance I have found. Like I said, I'm getting much better at it. But at the same time, I know that there are a lot of sewists who are like, oh, I don't tell anybody that I sew because I don't want them to ask me to make them something and then I have to say no. And I totally appreciate that so much, but I am so jazzed about my ability to make really cool clothes that I just want to brag about it all the time. So I've never thought about not telling people I don't sew. I'm like, girl, I sewed this. This is amazing, isn't it? Like, you can love it, but you can't have
A classic Jasika sewing jingle. Um, my favorites.
Oh,
My favorites.
so Purple Sewing Cloud is an account that I follow on IG, and she wrote me recently, and she said, "Oh, I made something, and I was trying out to see what other garments I had that would go with it, and I was wishing that I had your jingle. What does it go with?" So I recorded it for her, and I sang the whole to go with song, and I think she's going to use it in a video. So I'm so stoked. This might be my new career field, is sewing jingles, specific sewing
Yes.
jingles.
Yes. Yes. I love that. I also want that sound. Because because as you know, we've already had this discussion. I am tone deaf and cannot sing. So I was like, this is my homage to Jasika, but I'm not going to sing it because it will sound very bad. So
Now I have a vision of you doing like a TikTok and you're just mouthing the words and it's me in the background and you're like, go with,
exactly that. Exactly that. We're gonna make this happen. That's amazing. Your dad is like such a sensation on Instagram also, always a popular appearance when your dad shows up. So I also love that.
You know it. You
He's great. I would love to chat with you more about your journey in making things for Claire, because that was like such a beautiful and important part of your blog post. It was also obviously one that really resonated with me because I make things for my partner Morgan, who's also non-binary, so we kind of have that in common.
yes.
Yeah, would you talk a little bit about kind of what that felt like in the beginning, what it feels like now? Claire can jump in too if they have thoughts on what it feels like from their perspective.
Claire, feel free to jump in. Um, so Claire has a really great eye for color and fabric. And so as soon as I got back into sewing, because we've been together for a long time before I really got into sewing again. And so they would come to fabric stores with me and they would just come up behind me and have like 4 bolts of fabric. I was like, oh, these are all really stunning and beautiful. Thank you very much for your work. And so became this thing where like, I don't know, I would just always want to hear, their input or what they would have to say about particular fabric. And so once I kind of was introduced to the indie sewing pattern world, because when I started sewing in college, which was for a college credit, honestly, it was only Big Four. The internet was barely a thing at that time. This was like the early 2000s. And so when I came back to it and there were all these really cool indie sewing pattern companies and people writing blogs, and it was just really exciting in a way that Big Four sewing hadn't been exciting for me. And so the first pattern I chose was this Colette pattern, which is now kind of seam work, but back when Colette had their own brand of patterns, and I think it's called the Negroni shirt, and it's a men's pattern. And I have made, a few garments after years of not sewing. So I was like riding a little tricycle on this, but Claire had picked out this really cute, like dotted fabric. This is when we were living in Vancouver. So I was like, okay, I got you, boo. I'm gonna make this shirt for you. And so I make this Negroni shirt, and oh gosh, they were so sweet. I will say that they were very kind. Very, thank you very much. That's the right word. It didn't fit great. And I ended up putting like all these darts in it to like make up for the extra room that it had in certain places. And you know what? They still wore it a couple of times, which was very, very sweet of them. But this was, oh my gosh, this is when we were in Vancouver. So like maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And so in the time since then, I certainly have gotten better in my skills. And I think that even together, we've developed a better relationship with how to talk about fabric and how they want something to fit. And, you know, it's one thing to know how to make things work on your own body and adjust, because I know how my hips go and I know how my waist goes and I know, and I make the same adjustments on everything. So to do it on somebody else's body, like, I'm just so awe of the people who make clothes for like in their life professionally, costume designers and stuff, because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of factoring in just stuff that you don't think about normally. But eventually we kind of got like a good routine, because they have their own taste and stuff. It wouldn't be stuff that I would pick out for myself, and yet when I make it for them, I'm like, you look so good in that. Like, I feel so good about my own skills just because it feels like this dynamic that we have together. And so in the interim, after making that Negroni shirt 9 years ago, I've since made them jeans. I made them skinny jeans. I made them like cargo pants. I've made them 17,641 pairs of true bias jogger pants. Hudson pants, yes.
Overalls.
Yes. Would you like to say anything?
I can continue naming things you made for me. You made me this.
Yes, I did make this.
This is the most recent for me, and it's probably my most favorite.
This is a so-so death pattern. And it was a dream to make for their body, especially now that they've gotten top surgery. So it's just like, it fits them the way that they want to, and there isn't a lot of having to like conform the pattern and work around anything, because this is how they want like a shirt to fit on them, kind of like flowy. Oh shoot. I saw a sewing thing I have to fix. Don't look at
Tell us.
the collar is like the edge right there. You see how it's like coming undone? So I think I might have like so many times, right? Like clip the seam, allow it's too short, and it starts fraying at the edge.
Oh, right. That's not just like,
It's not a choice, but we can act like it's a choice.
like the Guy Fieri special.
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about this the shirt and how it fits?
I really like the flowiness. For me, like top surgeries like changed that part of like my experience of clothes, where I could wear prior to it, I could wear like a shirt that is flowy, but I would have like, you know, like at least one binder on. So I couldn't really, I feel like, experience like the real,
Like against your skin?
yeah, like how this fabric is like, I feel like not intended, but like that's the selling point, is that it's breezy and like feels good on your skin, and it's like lightweight. And so I really like that about my body after that. That's what was right for me. It's not right for everybody, but that's what I wanted. So yeah, this is cool. I think that it's my favorite thing that you've made me, and it's also the most recent thing you've made me. I like
Go
that.
fig, yeah.
I like that.
I want to say I've never thought about as somebody who wears like undergarments and a bra and underwear and sometimes a slip, I've never thought about the way that fabric might touch the places on my body that don't normally have anything but, you know, a bra or underwear on them before. Which is something I'm going to think about, because I often get new fabric and go, oh my God, it feels so soft against your skin. But really, I'm only like feeling it on my arms and my belly and maybe my legs or something.
Isn't that kind of the benefit of having a similar textured underset?
Sure.
Is that it like kind of glides against it?
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
That's nice.
That is nice. And it also is a reminder that I need to make a bunch of nicer undergarments instead of these like, you know, lycra knit, just cotton, go with everything sort of things. I don't have a lot of nice, flowy, slippery undergarment things, which is a good idea, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Claire, your shirt looks amazing, and there have been multiple comments complimenting you on it, so it's fabulous.
And
Awesome.
it's also a matching set. So
Mhm.
Jasika also has some, what do you have, honey?
A dress.
You have a dress of this made out of the same fabric.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
It's our only that matching.
We feel like a real dynamic couple. I feel like
A power couple.
we're a power couple. It's the queer version of like the older couples in the mall where the guy has one that says like I'm with her, and she has one that says like with me or something.
Mine is going to be like powered by natural gas. And yours is going to be like I'm with them.
I was not expecting gas to come up in this SewQueer live, but here we are, and I'm not mad about it.
Here we are.
Not mad about it.
It's just part of being a human being.
It is part of being a human being. It is very true. Everybody's got gas. Everybody's got gas.
True. Yeah. Anyway. I love all of that. I also like the first thing I made for Morgan was also a Negroni shirt, and the
Are you
muslin that I made for him. Yeah, it was. Yeah, and I like sewed up a muslin and sent it to them because we don't live in the same city, and the muslin was so bad. The first one was so bad, also because I had the exact same experience of being like, I know my body really well, but their body is a lot different than mine, and how do you like conceptualize that?
Yeah.
So everything you say, it feels very familiar. Yeah.
I love her mailing that out. And so then would Morgan like put it on and be like, did you do a fitting over video or over Skype or something?
Yeah. We did like a video chat, and they put it on, and they were like, well, like the top fit's okay, but like it doesn't even come close to going around my hips. And I was like, shit.
That actually, so I've never sent anybody anything for fitting through the mail, but one time I booked this job while I was in the process, or at the beginning of the process of sewing them like 5 Archer button downs, because the Archer button down is what I moved on to after the Negroni, and my sewing skills got a little bit better. And so they picked out all this fabric, and it was like 6 or 7 Archers, I think.
That was all cotton and steel, right?
Yeah. And so, but then I had to go to Savannah, Georgia and film for several months. And so I brought my sewing machine with me, and it was actually so cool because I'm always sad to leave them. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm gone for a couple of days or like, a couple months, I'm always sad. And so I had all this fabric that they had picked out, and I was just like furiously working on the shirts because I didn't have anything else to do if I wasn't working. And it was a really nice buffer. It kind of was like, oh, they're still here with me as I'm making all these shirts for them. And then I mailed them to them, and they tried them on, and they were like, they fit, they're great. It was really great. I was also living in a hotel with roaches at the time, so there's some sad memories from this time as well. The shirts were like such a lovely, kind of keep you connected across the distance, which I would imagine was kind of like you and Morgan too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think like something you said earlier about like sewing for people you love, and like knowing that you're thinking about them while you're stitching it, and that they will be thinking about you when they wear it, is like so deeply involved in that. Yeah. Truly.
There's not I don't know. There's, when we talk about gifting and our love languages and how we want to show people our love and stuff, gift giving has always been one for me, but it's stuff that I make. Like, there's something very specific about having a thing in mind for this individual person. Not that there's anything wrong with buying stuff in a store and giving it out, obviously. But it feels like, I don't know, like you have this connection that lasts for a long time, because if they're still wearing it years later, you know, they might have dropped that coffee cup that you got there from Target a long time ago.
What happens with us sometimes too is that like I'll grow out of the shirts that she makes me, but we have people in our lives who that does fit. So like our friend Alex has a bunch of those Archer shirts actually.
That's right.
And she loves them.
That's right.
And so it's kind of like a on, especially because we're see Alex and we're friends with her and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like even my family, like you will give stuff to my family members.
Oh yeah. One of their sisters is the same size as me, and I will send her every single thing that I've like, you know, don't really wear anymore or whatever. But also, some of Claire's older shirts fit me now, so some of them get recycled back into my own
That's the
closet.
most fun. I love that. That's my very favorite.
Because you still see it.
And it's like so cute. Like, okay. So I like to get to enjoy it still. You know?
Yeah. That's sweet.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That happens on my end too. Like I pass things down to Morgan all the time, and I'm like, you know, like a shirt that I made and I loved that I like know will be loved and I will get to see on someone I love. Like that just feels so good.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, doesn't Morgan knit for you? Do they knit things for you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Morgan knits. So yeah.
Oh my God. There have been a couple, I feel like maybe there was a shawl or I don't remember what it was, but it was something that was really beautiful that they made you. And I was like, this is the dream team. Like both people making things for each other. Like it's just really warms my heart. And they're very talented too. So
they're extremely talented. Yeah. I feel very lucky to be able to be the recipient of those gifts.
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the things that like on my end I love is that like Morgan and I kind of sort of collaborate on some of those projects where we'll kind of pick things together, the materials. And I have loved Claire's fabric hauls on your Instagram and the like collaboration of picking the materials. Claire, you are great at fabric hauls. Keep doing them forever.
Thank you. At first, I'm very slow.
Shannon, I have a 5-minute long video that I just haven't found the time to upload yet of a fabric haul. It's 3 fabrics. And it's a 5-minute long video.
It's also a gag. It's also a gag.
Yes, I know. I don't want to spoil anybody. Don't want to spoil. It's coming soon. Everybody who likes watching Claire do the fabric hauls.
I know. I'm getting to be obnoxious. Like the end of this one, I'm all like, "Thank you to my fans."
Yeah,
like it's obnoxious.
And you know what else? It's like so much work because Shannon, you know, to like put in the work to do the video and upload it, put the captions in there and everything, and then I just get like dozens of messages talking about how great and funny and cute Claire is. And at first it's like, yeah, no, they are. And then it's like, you really just took over my entire Instagram. Like,
you stole the show.
like, truly. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
And Morgan does not do that.
No, I have not. I mean, to be fair, I do kind of want to rope them into doing a fabric haul.
Because listen, you already have 2 people that are definitely going to be into watching it. So I think it's a good idea. I think you got to make it happen, Shannon.
So.
Yeah.
I think that's like a fun thing to do for.
Maybe it should be a new hashtag, like get your partner to do
like,
your fabric haul.
Partners doing fabric hauls is like so fun. Like imagine Erin doing Grace's fabric haul.
Yeah.
And like Jordan doing Renee's. Like that's so fun to me.
It is fun. Also, I would also just like to say to everybody in this live that I do make these for Claire. It's very fun. But Claire is not like against learning how to do things. I taught them how to knit. They were great at it. They didn't love it, but they did it. They made themselves like a couple of hats. They made themselves a Sorrento bucket hat with my guidance. I kind of like helped them along in the process. So it doesn't, and they tie-dyed it. So it, you know, it feels more, joy of making feels like something that we're still trying to explore our relationship with together, for one another, individually, just in all different kinds of ways. Because they do have a deep appreciation for the aesthetics of fabric and how they feel and how they look, and you know, the print and the color and fashion in general. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to overstep that.
It's okay.
Oh, geez.
Oh, are they frozen?
Hello?
Oh,
Oh, I heard.
I can hear you, but you're frozen.
Oh, okay. You're frozen, but I can hear you too. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes. Oh no.
It's like doing the, what do you call it? The circle thing.
Wheel.
Yeah, the wheel.
Oh,
Does anybody
yeah,
have any questions in the
the wheel
comments?
thing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think you're back now.
Does
Okay.
anybody have any
Yeah. Yeah.
comments?
Does anyone have any comments? There's a couple of people saying that they love you, Jasika. So
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
yeah.
You. Claire's cool, Bob. We're here for you.
Claire's fine too, but
Honey, you're a special guest. Now people will know who you are and be able to like have their own relationship with you.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to make sure we talk about is that like a big important part of the post that you wrote for us was understanding your own identity and the way that that kind of really intersected with talking with Claire about their identity. And I wonder if you would be up for talking a little bit about places where your identity as a mixed person kind of intersects with your sewing, your making, kind of where do you see those two things connecting?
Wow. You know, when we think about, I think that when we talk about the male gaze, I feel like it is usually in reference to, and I'm going to put this in quotes, like a white male gaze, and what is considered conventionally attractive within, like, you know, the European beauty standard or something. And that's actually very different than what is considered attractive in the Black community, and I would probably say in a lot of different like communities of color in general. And so when I was younger, that was important to me, like looking good for other people. That was a huge part of the way that I dressed. And you know, I was honestly too young to really understand how vast the word sexy or attractive, what that actually means. But so much of it was informed by television and what I saw on TV. And so I feel like the white male gaze in general is very interested in, I should say, the white male heterosexual gaze is centered on really thin bodies, very lithe, tall, not super curvy, usually straight hair, like all these things that you think of when you think of like a bombshell blonde or something, is what I think of that, you know, is kind of centered within what is considered attractive to that particular person. And as I grew up, I started to really be able to pay attention to the nuance of what is considered beautiful or attractive in the Black community, which is not rail thin. I mean, it certainly can be, but it's like usually very curvy and, like a body that was more like mine. I've always had a curvy body. And when I was growing up, I had so much shame around the size of my butt. Like, I cannot even tell you how much my butt is in my journal entries when I'm in like middle school and high school. And like, when I think back about it now, it's embarrassing, like everything else in my diary entries from that time, obviously. But it just took me so long to get out of the mindset of, number one, having like a curvy booty is not a bad thing. You're still beautiful. And number two, it's not your beautiful curvy butt that makes you beautiful in the first place. It's kind of like having to unpack all these things about what is beautiful and what makes me feel beautiful, as opposed to how other people are seeing me, and trying to keep that in my head about, what's in fashion right now. And should I dress this way for this kind of person or that way for another kind of person? And so I feel like I'm still in the process of figuring out what feels good to me when my eyes are closed and it's just me in the room. What feels good to just me? I'm not out in the world. I'm not being viewed by anybody. What feels good to me? And, I would imagine that this will be like a lifelong journey that I'm on, trying to really cut away all the fat and think about myself as the only person that matters in terms of how I present myself to the rest of the world. And I say all this, knowing that I'm an actor in television and film, and knowing that there's a lot of crap that comes with that you have to navigate through, so I'm trying to unlearn a lot of stuff that I learned culturally, and also to kind of like defy what is being pumped at us that the media is taking part in, and which I am taking part in by default because I am in, television shows and movies. And so, trying not to, I guess my big thing is that I used to always try to minimize my curves and make myself look like I was 6 feet tall. I'm 5'3". I'm never going to look 6 feet tall, but that sure was something I was trying to do for a really long time. Trying to like take that stuff out of my head, even when I go to like costume fittings with the wardrobe supervisor on a project, and they have an idea of how they want me to look, and I have an idea about how I want me to look. And a lot of times I would say a good costume designer will hear what I have to say and will totally, they always want me to feel good in what I'm wearing. But I've definitely worked with some people that honestly just have like, fat phobia is like instilled in the way that they do their job. And so their automatic thing is to try and make you look so skinny, and to say things like, "Ooh, you look really skinny in that." And like, that is so hard to like combat and navigate, because on the one hand you're kind of beholden to them because they're trusting you, so you don't want to have like a bad relationship with them and have them put you in crazy stuff, and at the same time be like, I don't want you to talk about my body in that way. Like, either this clothing fits me and works for the character, or it doesn't, but there's no, oh, you're gonna look so skinny on camera sort of thing. Like, that's when I think about how big that world is, it feels like exhausting to think about having to navigate it. And also then I think about like any actors who are plus size or who are fat, who are also having to deal with that at a level that I do not have to deal with that, and how difficult it must be for them to try and, speak to the person and say, I'm not trying to fit this fantasy. I'm not trying to squeeze into this box that you want to put me in. I really just want to feel good on set for 14 hours a day in these skinny jeans you put me in. Like, I just want to feel as comfortable as possible so I can do my job. Yeah, so that's a part of my learning process. But I do feel like I'm able to have a better language for it because I do so. So when I am talking with wardrobe supervisors, they know, because I let them know before I even come in for a fitting. I'll say, I sew my own clothes. Not like a cute little apron, which is fine, but I know my body and I know about clothing. So you're not going to put me in these jeans that are 7 inches too big in the waist, but fit my hips because my waist and hip, difference is so big. And then I got all this saggy jean in the back and you're going to close it with clothespins. No, we're not going to do that. Either you're going to fit the clothes to me properly, or we're going to find something else to wear. And that part feels really empowering. And I really and truly feel like I'm only able to do that because I have been sewing for as long as I have. So I'm grateful for it, but I feel like I have a lot more ground to cover in terms of like making sure that my needs are being met within that realm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that you're able to bring that knowledge to that part of your job and to like be like, hey, I know what's going on. I can and in a way where you can kind of be part of the team that's making this successful.
Yes.
Yeah. hmm hmm And I really like the way that you
Everything.
talk about oh, sorry.
No, I think that is spot on. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was gonna say I like the way that you talk about like what makes you feel good as if you're kind of the only person in the room. You're the only person who like is seeing and feeling what you're wearing. Because one of the things that I've really loved about having followed you now for a while is seeing the way that you have really played with that and like seeing you on like your color journey and finding the colors that make you feel really awesome and like the playfulness with different types of fabrics and like I feel such an affinity with you with like the fabrics and the kind of like character building that happens around clothing so this is a note of appreciation for that, but also an invitation to talk a little bit about that kind of creative process and how that has how that works for you, how that has felt for you.
Yeah. Again, in thinking about being a mixed race person and trying to navigate these worlds that feel separate a lot of the time. I kind of gave myself all these rules with my fashion in particular. I have rules for all parts of my life, but they would also come into play in the way that I wore clothes and what is allowed for this type of situation, what is allowed for this group of people. And the older that I've gotten, maybe the less energy I have for thinking about how other people are going to feel about me. I'm not saying it's completely disappeared because it's certainly still there. Because I think that I'm, kind of a people pleaser at heart anyway. But really trying to shift the focus from what other people are expecting and what feels acceptable to them to what I feel good in. I'm somebody who loves to dress up. I just love to put on something that's pretty and like twirly, and it might not be appropriate for the occasion. And I've learned to be like, I don't care. I know it's a barbecue. But I want to wear this dress and these gold clogs because this feels like me. And I remember particularly in college, like everybody always dressed down when I was in college. And it was always like, I'm just going to throw these sweats on and like go to class. I'm so tired. I've been studying so hard. And it was like a personality almost to like dress that way. Or at least that's how it felt when I was in school. And so I did it because that's what everybody else was doing. And I didn't want to stand out. And now all I want to do is stand out and for people to go, oh, what's up with this person? Like, what's going on with her? And I don't even do it like, I don't do it to intentionally stand out. But I'm trying to just pay attention to like what my need is for that day. Sometimes my need is, let's just take it back full circle. I got a lot of gas and I need to wear some elastic pants. Back on gas. Full circle, baby. Sometimes that's the need. But more often the need is, oh my God, I haven't left the house in a week and a half, and I want to get dolled up and put some lipstick on and feel really cute. And I don't care if anybody thinks I look cute. I want to know I'm cute. Because knowing that you're cute on the inside doesn't involve other people. You know, like you can look cute on your couch at home by yourself, and that is just as valid as going to the Target and having people stop you and go, oh, I love your shoes, or I love, you know, whatever it is that you're wearing. I do love it when people stop and say, whoa, where did you get that jumper? That fabric is wild or something, because it usually initiates another kind of conversation. And I'm sure, Shannon, that you know this, and people compliment you and they'll be like, oh my gosh, my grandma used to sew, and it will bring up some kind of memory from their past. And it's just a really special interaction with the stranger that I wouldn't normally have. So I appreciate that. But the truth is that I'm going to be fly whether I have people looking at me or not. And I'm really trying to like embrace that as much as possible and let that guide not only how I wear my clothes, but how I interact with people. You know, when we think about like imposter syndrome and trying to fit in and feeling like you don't quite belong and dealing with all the insecurities that we have just as humans, which is a totally natural thing. But I want to combat as much of that as possible with feeling like I am already feeling like the best version of myself, striving to be the best version of myself. And that just can't involve anybody else's input. That's only going to come from inside of you and how you're feeling in that moment. And it doesn't have to be the same every day. I'm going to a barbecue tomorrow, and I might wear jeans, Shannon. I don't know. I might not wear the golf clogs. We'll see. But I love having the option, you know, to feel like I'm going to show up and I'm just going to be who I am. And that's what people are going to remember about me, is that I did it unapologetically. You know, I showed up looking how I wanted to look. And that means a lot. I know that I went through a period in my 20s where I was like, everybody's so caught up in fashion. Like, let's talk about what's in the brain. Like, I did that, okay? We all go through our phases. And I have since learned that loving clothes and caring about the way you feel in the world, in your clothes, in the colors that you choose, whatever it is, none of that takes away from any other parts of your personality or your intellect or your anything. Like, we're allowed to be these very multi-dimensional people with lots of different interests and weird quirks about us. And that's what makes us so special and able to engage with other people who get us. Like, Shannon, as soon as I came across your, and I had seen other people post you all the time, and every single time I was like, ooh, she's so smart, or ooh, that's so right on. And at one point I was like, why am I not following her? Like, it was like a TV and I was just watching commercials and being like, I should get that thing. And finally I was like, and so I don't know, like, this is our first time, you know, interacting in this way, although other every once in a while, and you're just somebody that I feel like safe with, and clothing is one of the reasons that we can find like connection and safety with each other. Not clothing specifically, but kind of like, you know, the maker world and talking about color palette. Like, we talked about all these different things, and you just kind of find your people when you're yourself, your most authentic self. That's when find other people who are authentically themselves, and you have like real connection that feels, you know, special, especially in the world of social media, which is like a world to navigate. But I do feel like I find community. I find people who are saying smart things all the time, and I'm like, I want to be smart like you. I want to keep learning from you. I want to keep challenging myself, which is what you do on social media, and I feel so lucky for that. And truly, it's sewing that has introduced me to all these really cool people like you, and I'm just very thankful for it.
Well, thank you. And also, like, I feel I mean, I'm so happy that we were able to get you for SewQueer, but also just like personally, I feel so lucky that I get to have you as my like sewing friend. And
Yes.
It makes me so happy. And I feel like, yeah, we connect on a lot of different levels. So we are kind of constantly like, oh yeah, we're in the same club. Like
Yeah.
this is an amazing thing that we share, like all of these kind of seemingly disparate things,
Yes, yes,
which
that's
I
it. Like you're playing from the air, and then you have this whole pile of stuff on the table in front of you, and you're like, I really like this person.
love. Exactly. Yeah. And honestly, like, I think one of the things that um, yeah, that like does that and makes like people feel as though they can connect with you and like with folks like you who do this is like that openness in the process of finding yourself, in the process of like doing, and your openness in talking about like, oh, this one did not work at all and here's kind of what I figured out from it, or like this one is like really, I'm really feeling this and I'm gonna like just wear it around my house over sweatpants, or like that kind of real authenticity, which I adore. I think the world adores. So keep it up.
That also, like your your focus on boundaries and your making sure that people don't try and talk to you any kind of way that they want to. I saw very quickly that that was important to you. And what it does is it makes, before anybody ever writes you, it makes them stop and think, why am I writing this person? Is this like good information to share? Do I need to learn more about this? Whatever it is, it makes, I feel like people be thoughtful in the way that they interact with you, which is a really powerful thing to do. Like nobody stumbles page and they're like, oh, let me shoot this person like a DM real quick. No, because you are so articulate in the way that you welcome people to talk to you, and also you're not somebody I would ever want to piss off. Like I don't want to be on the wrong side, and not like you're a mean person or anything, but you're not going to mince words. You're going to say, oh, I have a problem with this, and this. And so I feel like it's like almost forcing people to educate themselves about things or really be thoughtful about how they talk to you. And I wish that that was across the board with everybody. But what you're doing is giving a good example for people to follow, to say, oh, wow, Shannon wouldn't put up with this. Shannon wouldn't take this. I'm not gonna take it either. Like it's a great example for people to see on social media, which is again a very weird, like, every person for himself kind of world sometimes. It's really easy for people to like project their crap onto you and you're not going to take it. And I love it.
Thank you. It's like, yeah, it's a real process, but I think like you said, the maker community can be a place where we really find each other. And Instagram is not always like set up to really be conducive to that in really productive ways. So sometimes that is like you have to create the boundaries and the opportunities in both ways to make that work for you, because living on social media is not going to be the same for everyone. Like you have to kind of figure out what works for you in order for it to be like a happy, productive place where suddenly you're finding friends and having like wonderful live chats where you're laughing all the time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've loved this so much. And I want to ask you, are there other things that you wanted to share with the SewQueer community? Words of wisdom, things that you wanted to talk about that we haven't touched on, anything at all?
Oh gosh, let's see. I got some words of wisdom, and they are that you, as a maker or an artist or a creative, that you get to determine what your best environment looks like to create. And this is something I've been thinking a lot about, particularly during quarantine for the pandemic, how
a lot of times we don't factor that in. We think about materials, we think about tools, we think about what it is we want to make. We might even think about the process, but we don't think about the actual physical environment that we're in. And that can be really conducive to having a great time, or it can be the opposite of that. And there are times when like you might hate a project, and it might be because like somebody's got 17 episodes of Jeopardy queued up in the next room, and that's like not helpful to you. Or, you know, there's like a big party next door and they're playing loud music. Or maybe like it's at nighttime and you're always tired at night. Whatever it is, I don't think that we generally put too much focus on what the atmosphere is like when we're creating, and it can make a lot of difference in how you feel when you create and what you actually end up with when you create. Like when you're in your best environment, what does that look like? And how can you emulate that? Is it wearing headphones, or is it, you know, waking up a little bit earlier because you'd rather sew in the morning than at the nighttime? I think that that is just as important as getting your materials and your tools list and your pattern and your whatever else. So that would be my bit of wisdom for you, is to pay attention to your surroundings so that you have the best kind of environment to create in the way that you want to.
I love that piece of advice. I think that's so important. And I love the like attuning yourself to like the sounds, to like the sensations around you that you're noticing. Those are really important. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I'm like a very easily distracted person. So like, are there really annoying sounds? Like, yeah, that can throw off everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There, it's so many things. You know, I think in general we kind of like say, oh, you know, if you're neurotypical, then that kind of stuff doesn't matter. You know, that's for people who are neurodivergent, who do get distracted, or who do have, you know, other stuff going on. And the truth is that I think we could all benefit from paying attention to that stuff. Like, there have been times when I hated a project and I didn't know why, because I thought I liked what I was doing. And like the fabric was like, I had dry fingers and the fabric kept like rubbing up against it in a way that I didn't like. And, you know, we don't always give any kind of credence to that stuff. We're like, well, just push through it and finish doing it. And that's fine. You can certainly do that. But you can also have a little compassion for yourself and say, there's this one part that I actually don't like. And that is why I'm not enjoying this part. Or that's why I keep messing up on this one thing and I don't understand why. Or like eating, you know, it's so easy to like sew for hours and be like, I'm going to finish this before I eat dinner. And then like 2 hours goes by and then you keep making mistakes because your brain isn't working right, because your stomach is hungry. Paying attention to your body when you're doing this stuff, it makes a lot of difference. I am not saying I take my advice all the time. I'm off burst of wisdom doesn't mean that I like know the wisdom in my head. But again, we strive to be better versions of ourselves. And this is one where I'm like, I need snacks like in this sewing room. So
Yes.
I can't stop to eat. I got chips that I can like grab, or I have Jolly Ranchers or whatever it is that's gonna like, you know, sustain me for a little while. That stuff is important.
It so is. Yeah. It's really like, it's a way of reminding ourselves that like we're bringing our whole body to sewing and we should be caring for our whole body, and that's going to make everything better. Mm-hmm.
That's so legit, Shannon. It truly, truly. Yes, I feel like we could have a whole conversation on like neck pain and back pain, and like, right, and the headache going on because we don't stretch afterwards. We're like, it's just sewing, but you are right. It is a whole body experience, whole mind experience that deserves paying attention to.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Oh, this is advice that I need to take myself as well. So I feel you on that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's truly been so, so lovely to have you here. And your post again was completely beautiful. I really loved it.
But thank you for inviting me to participate in the blog. And thanks for letting me do this because it was, again, my first time that I got to chat with you. And I was excited about this all week. So
I'm so glad.
so lucky to be like in your circle of people. It's really cool. I'm honored.
I feel the same way. So I'm so glad we got to do this. I hope our like love fest is entertaining for all of the viewers, because we had a great time at least.
I don't know, but like this.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you for bearing with technical difficulties, but
Gosh, of course, it's fine. We made it. We did it. We
did it. Yes. Yeah, and for everyone watching who might have just tuned in late, we're going to have this up on our Instagram Live, Instagram TV, IGTV, whatever we call it these days, and on YouTube where you can access a captioned version. So feel free to watch them. And thank you, Jasika, and have a wonderful rest of your Saturday.
Thank you so much. You too, Shannon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.